Hello, it's vlog number 19, and today we're going to unravel the mystery that is a thrift store find. Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about an item that I recently purchased in the thrift store. Now, I started the vlog about a year ago, and if you've watched any of the earlier episodes, you'll notice that at the end of most of my episodes, I had what was called a thrift store find. Now, my 8th grade broadcasting class last year was very supportive of me doing a vlog. They encouraged me, they wanted me to do it, and in fact, many of them subscribed, even though a lot of my content is really geared towards teachers. So the thing that they really liked and that they encouraged me to do every vlog is to have a thrift store find. I would come in sometimes and say, hey guys, I found this really cool like old MacBook, laptop, or I found this old camera, or I found a really good vinyl record over the weekend, and I would tell them a little story about it. And so they encouraged me to put that at the end of my vlog. And so I haven't done one of those for a while, and I found a really cool item this past Saturday. So I thought I would do an entire vlog about finding out or unraveling the mystery of finding an item from a thrift store. So this weekend when I went to the thrift store, I was back in the book section and came across a couple of these. So this is a program. You can see on there it says the Super Summer in 77. And this is a program that you would have got when you went to Kauffman Stadium to watch the Royals play in the summer of 1977. So it's not a yearbook, but it's more of a program. You can tell it's a program because in the middle you've got the rosters, and then you've got a place for the scorecard. And it's pretty cool. It's $3, so I thought it was definitely worth a $3 purchase. And the nice thing about something like this, when I opened it up, I noticed that there was a little bit of inclusion in the scorecard. They hadn't kept the entire scorecard, but a little bit. And then there's a couple other things that as I just kind of went through it quickly, I thought were interesting. So I decided to purchase it. And I don't like resell these things. Eventually in the future, I'll probably frame this. It's kind of cool. I like kind of like old retro stuff for some of the teams that I follow, like the Huskers or the Royals. If I find stuff from like, the 1950s or 60s or 70s or something, I always think that's kind of cool to have vintage stuff. And so I didn't buy it with the intent of having it be an investment or selling it. But what I like to do when I get an item like this from a thrift store is then researching and jumping in on the internet and finding out as much about that item as I can. So let's jump into this and find out a little bit about what this program was and potentially piece together its history. So when I picked it up, I could tell it was obviously from the summer of 1977. And as I paged through, I could tell that some of the pages had things cut out. So probably maybe a younger fan maybe had this, and they decided that they wanted to cut out some pictures, maybe have some players. So right away I could tell that it had probably been really treasured by somebody, possibly a younger fan. And then as I scrolled through, I noticed that on some of the individual pictures of players, I'll find you an example here real quick, there were signatures underneath some of the names. So if I can find one here. Here we go. So like for example on Larry Gura here, you'll notice that there's an autograph on the picture. So I started to look through, and as any Royals fan would, knowing this was a 1977 program, I went to George Brett's picture. So I'm going to go to George Brett's picture, and my heart kind of jumped a little bit when I first looked at this. There's a signature right above George Brett. Now, if you'll notice, that is not George Brett's signature, though. It's actually Ken Brett. Ken Brett was George's brother, and unfortunately Ken passed away, and I think it was 2003. I think he had cancer and he passed away. But so right away, there's kind of an interesting mystery. It has a Brett signature, but it's not George Brett, so I don't really know exactly how that would have came about. But then as I scrolled through, I noticed that there's some other signatures. So here you got, come back here. You got Dennis Leonard, and that'll be part of the mystery here in a little bit as well. So that's signed. And they're in pen, and they're in slightly different colors. So there's a couple other players that have signatures as well. So again, I am not investing in this as like an investment for later, but it's really cool that this has signatures on it. So here we have Cookie Rojas. So my first thing was, wow, that's kind of cool that they have signatures on here. The second thing I wanted to figure out was what particular game this was. So when I look at the scorecard here, I know that it was a game between the Chicago White Sox and the Royals. So, like, here's the roster for the White Sox. So I know that it was a White Sox game. I know that it was a Royals game. But they're in the same division, and they play several times during the year. So I went to the internet, and I found all the different times that the Royals and the White Sox played in Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City that year. And I did have the lineups for those 2 days, or for that particular game. So I know that if I find a box score that has these particular lineups, I'm probably on the right particular day. So the beauty of the internet is everything's on the internet. I was able to go to the internet, and I was able to find the specific day that this game took place, and it was May 2nd of 1977. So once I knew the particular game, then I started to research what happened in that game. It ended up being a 3-1 victory for the Royals, and it ended up being a complete game for Leonard. He pitched a complete game, 4-hitter, so pretty impressive for Dennis Leonard. Looking at the hits, it looks like the Royals, they came back and they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and one of those was on a wild pitch, and that was what ended up winning the game for him 3-1. I know the attendance for the game, officially the attendance was at 15,400. And some other kind of oddities about the game. You can look at George Brett. George Brett was 1 for 4. It's pretty early in the season, but at the time, George Brett was hitting 314. Hal McRae was hitting 341 at the time. So it's just kind of cool to look back and see all those statistics. He even has the temperature. The temperature was in the 70s. Looks like it was a nice night to play at Royal Stadium. As far as the current standings, when you look at the standings at that time, the Royals were in first place in the American League West Division, and they were actually tied with Minnesota, and they had a 13-8 record going into the game. So kind of cool to piece all those things together. And then it was also neat looking through the program itself, because there's a lot of like little interesting things in the program that kind of make you think back to what it was like to watch baseball in Kansas City in 1977. So one of my favorite pages to look at in the program is the Royals ticket information page. They got a really cool map of Kauffman Stadium, and then they have ticket prices listed. So, for example, the most expensive ticket in 1977 was club level, and that was $7. Parking was $150, which is pretty incredible, thinking about the I think the current rate's like $14 or $15 for parking. You could get into a general admission seat at Kauffman Stadium for $1.50 at that time. So that was pretty neat. And then also, general admission was only sold on the day of the game, an hour and a half prior to game time. So people that were fans from that era would definitely remember that. I thought this one section was really cool where it talks about by mail. So it says, a great way to save time and take care of your ticket needs in advance. Just enclose check or money order for tickets plus 50 cents for handling and mailing. And then it says, make sure that you allow sufficient time for return of the tickets. So it says that orders received less than 10 days prior will be at will call. So you can actually mail in and do a purchase order type thing, or money order, I'm sorry. And then it talks down here a little bit about rain checks and refunds. And look at this for refunds. This is pretty interesting. Refunds given when fans holding tickets for postponed games live beyond 75-mile radius of Kansas City, or when the last home game of the year is canceled. So imagine that, them actually asking you like where you live and if you're within 75 miles, if they can give you a refund and stuff. So anyway, I thought that page was really interesting, thinking about like ticket prices and just how they did tickets at that time period. So one final thing I thought was kind of interesting, when I looked at the scorecard on the inside, it has the umpires for that evening, and you'll notice that one of the umpires there is number 9, Don Denkinger. So if you're a baseball fan, that probably brings some memories to mind. He's going to be standing on this exact field a little over 9 years later, making a call at first base in the 1985 World Series between the Cardinals and the Royals, and it is going to completely change his life And I still have friends who are Cardinal fans where they believe that call has changed their lives. So pretty interesting that he was an umpire at this particular game. So, again, I bought this for $3. I just thought it was interesting. I might, frame it and maybe put a couple of the autographs together and stuff and put it up on my wall in my TV room with my other Royal stuff. But for $3 for me, the enjoyment of getting something like this is being able to kind of piece it together, imagine what it might have been like. I think that it was probably a younger fan that had this and probably cherished it for years to come. And now I'm going to cherish it. And one last thing, I was thinking about that quote that was on Field of Dreams, where they talk about how baseball is a constant. And I think the actual quote is talking about how, America's been erased like a blackboard and redone and erased, and baseball is always constant. So as I was doing research, once I knew that this was played on May 2nd, when I was doing the different internet searches, guess who the Royals play in Kauffman Stadium on May 2nd this year, 2017. That's right. They play the Chicago White Sox on that exact day in 2017. I might have to see if I can get to that game just so that I can say I've got the program from 40 years earlier, and then I could go and watch the game on May 2nd, 2017. So if you like the vlog, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button. This is our 19th vlog. We're trying to do some a little bit more often. You can always go to our webpage and check out any links that are associated with the vlog. That is at the historygeekteacher.com, and you can also find the contact information on there if you want to email me. As always, remember, history is so much more than just a bunch of boring old dead guys. Until next time, bye.